Hello everyone, welcome back to Mabul Amazing Movie Recap. Today we are going to be talking about a movie titled Renfield. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy this amazing recap. The movie begins with Renfield listening to a group of people talking about their lives in a self-help group. Renfield has a flashback on how he got into his current destructive relationship. Renfield, being a real estate agent in the 90s, arrived at Count Dracula's castle in Transylvania in hopes of securing a big-time deal. On seeing his potential, Dracula turned him into a familiar. Dracula granted Renfield a fraction of his powers through feeding on bugs. For decades, Renfield served and protected Dracula from vampire hunters and the dangers of being exposed. Dracula being exposed once more to vampire hunters called to Renfield for help. Renfield hesitates, on hopes of being free once Dracula dies. But he was convinced by Dracula's plea. The group of vampire hunters were utterly slaughtered, with Dracula being heavily wounded. The duo moves to New Orleans, where Dracula decides to lay low in order to fully recover. For him to recover, he needs to feed on a lot of blood. Renfield was given the duty of getting victims for him. We move back to present-day event, where Renfield is seen listening to a group of people talk about their monsters, while he literally lives with one. Renfield uses the support group to target victims for Dracula. Renfield follows a man to an abandoned warehouse, where he finds a group of men having an argument about the load of stolen drugs in front of them. He decides to kill everyone in order to feed Dracula. As he beats up and drugs the group of men, an assassin sent by the Lobos family enters the scene, trying to kill everyone including Renfield. Renfield kills the assassin and walks out of the warehouse. Teddy Lobo, on seeing Renfield, drives off hysterically. We meet Officer Rebecca Quincy, a highly motivated cop who wants to rid the streets of low-life crime bosses because of her father's tragic history with them. Teddy drives through the sobriety checkpoint with his car filled with drugs. Rebecca tries to arrest Teddy, but he ran off while hurling cocaine at the cops. The weakened Renfield drags the corpses to Dracula's lair, but Dracula rejects the blood from the corpses, but is instead demanding blood from virgins or cheerleaders. Rebecca arrests Teddy, but at the station Teddy is released. As it turns out, the Lobos are working with the feds. Meanwhile, the frustrated Quincy has a confrontation with her sister Kate, who has also dedicated herself to police work but is gathering a large-scale case against the Lobos within the FBI. Teddy, on getting back home, is summoned by his mother, Bella Franchesca. She tasked him to kill Rebecca in order to re-establish the fierce reputation of the Lobos. Meanwhile, Renfield goes to a restaurant to abduct commoners, who fits Dracula's food preference, while Quincy is also led there with clues from the warehouse crime scene. The two are caught in an attack on Quincy's life, in which Renfield decides to help Quincy on account of her rising against the tyranny of her oppressors, which he kinda relates to. Renfield gets back to Dracula's lair, where Dracula tells him about his plan on world domination, which involves him and Dracula being together for all eternity. This irritates Renfield so much that he hastily went back to the self-help group, seeking their advice on how to get his freedom back. They advised him to focus on his own needs. This prompted him to get an apartment for himself with a complete clothing makeover. A refined Renfield goes to the police station in order to give a statement that might help to bring down the Lobos. Rebecca gives Kate a piece of evidence, begging her to run diagnostics on it. The Lobos tracks down Renfield to the Depolate hospital, where they meet face-to-face with Dracula. Dracula kills all the henchmen and is about to kill Teddy when he convinces him to form an alliance with the Lobos, which will speed up his plan for world domination. Dracula learns of Renfield's betrayal from Teddy and decides to pay him a visit in his apartment. Renfield tries to use the advice from his support group in order to fight back. Dracula became furious when he sees that the support group is actually owned by the church. He leaves the apartment, going to the meeting spot of the support group in order to slaughter them. Renfield arrives there before Dracula, warning them that danger is coming, but they didn't believe him. Dracula kills all of them in front of Renfield. As Renfield mourns for his friends at the support group, Rebecca walks in with her partner, On seeing the carnage, she arrests Renfield while planning to take him back to the station for questioning. She is immediately swarmed by police officers and the Lobos, who also want revenge on Renfield. Quincy refuses to hand him over and she barely escapes with Renfield. Quincy wakes up the next morning and finds that Renfield has saved her life. He explains his true origin to her while confirming that he wants to reform himself. Kate calls Rebecca and confirms Renfield's story about his age and origin. The apartment was immediately swarmed by feds working for the Lobos. The two fight through a group of corrupt police officers. Dracula got introduced into the Lobos family by Teddy. Rebecca and Renfield decides to storm the Lobos headquarters when Rebecca's sister Kate is abducted. On getting there, the duo finds that Dracula has empowered over a half-dozen gang members to have all of Renfield's supernatural abilities, including Teddy. Rebecca moves ahead to stop Dracula, leaving Renfield to fight all the goons. He reveals to Teddy the side effects of accepting Dracula's power before killing him. Rebecca finds that her sister is beaten to near death and can only be healed through the healing properties of Dracula's blood. Dracula offers his blood in exchange for Rebecca's loyalty. Renfield walks in and tries to stop her from accepting such a deal. She tricks Dracula, leading to him having a final standoff with both her and Renfield, which ends with the two collaborating to capture him in a magical circle. Renfield and Rebecca beat Dracula into pieces, capturing loads of his healing blood and dividing up the bits of his corpse into pieces of concrete, which they scatter across the water system, either finally destroying the vampire or at least making it very hard for him to reform his body. Renfield later resurrects his self-help group friends, with him feeling empowered to make a new life for himself. The movie ends. Thank you for watching this amazing recap, and I hope you can support me in creating more videos by pressing the like and subscription button below. Stay tuned for more amazing videos.